Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have a Mighty game review. And I tell you what folks, it's been a while since I've done a game review. It's been a pretty dry year this year for me for gaming. There just really hasn't been anything new that's interested me, let alone there really hasn't been a whole lot of older games that kind of has been piquing my interest. And I'm not sure why, but I felt like I wanted to take a look at Ace Combat 7. So there we go, I got it. This is the complete version of Ace Combat 7 with like the Top Gun DLC, the whole 9 yards. So let's strap on in here, let's do some pilot shit, and we're going to talk about Ace Combat 7. Let's just start off with the developer is Bandai Namco Studios, and the publisher is Bandai Namco Entertainment. I'm pretty sure that is the developer and publisher since The Hills. You know, since Air Combat for PlayStation 1, it's always been Namco. The engine is Unreal 4. The release date for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox is January 2019. And it was also put on Windows PC February of 2019. I have no information on if it's been re-released for current gen platforms or if it crossed over. I don't know anything about that. Sorry, folks. However, that being said, this is going to be a review of the PC version, the Windows version of Ace Combat 7. Let me dive on into what I like about it first. I think the game in general boasts some really good graphics. I liked how the skyline looks, the ground looks. I just really generally liked how everything looked. Even the cockpit models I felt were done really well. You know, some of the older planes had rougher looking cockpits. As you can see here, I am flying an F-14 and some of the paint is chipped on the cockpit. But with the like newer Generation 5 fighters like the F-22 Raptor, you get a really nice pristine looking cockpit. And the cool thing is actually a lot of the tax and stuff of that nature actually does work in the cockpit. I feel the sounds in general terms are pretty great, especially when it comes to the engine sounds, the way the wind breaks. Explosions, I feel, sound pretty good. Now, that being said, it doesn't really sound like they made a whole lot of changes to the sounds or what kinds of sounds they have been using. Like, they sounded very similar to some of the sounds that were in Ace Combat 4. If anything, I do want to say that the soundscaping might be a bit improved. Now, that being said, there is a couple areas where I felt the sounds fell short. Particularly the guns with the F-22, the SU-37, and honestly, the A-10. Now, with the F-22 and the SU-37 Terminator, I have no idea why, but for some odd reason to me, it kind of sounded like I was shooting a 50 caliber machine gun. Now, the F-22, I know, is armed with the M61 Vulcan, which is on, I don't know, the F-18, I believe it's on the F-16, it's on the well, pretty much, I'm pretty sure from the F-14 on, it's on, except for with the A-10. The SU-37, I don't know what the gun is, but I know it's not a 50 caliber. You know, it's something like a 23 millimeter or something like that. The A-10, while it sounds different, and I can appreciate that, I feel like it should have sounded a bit meaner. It doesn't sound mean enough to me. It doesn't give that nice burr that you expect from a, 30 millimeter Vulcan gun on an A-10 Warthog. In general terms, I feel the aircraft models are great. They seem highly detailed to me. Nothing really falls short there. And, the thing is, with all the different planes, I could tell what I was looking at. And with some of the planes, you can physically see the changes. Good example is like you have the F-18F Super Hornet in the game, but then you also have the F-18F Block 3, and the models are completely different from one another because of the sensory pods, systems, avionics that they add to the F-18. Now, the tech tree, I actually do like the tech tree. I like the tech tree system. Basically, you play through missions, you collect points, And with those points, you can unlock different aircraft. And as you're going through, you have to... Basically, it's like a chain that you have to upgrade through. If you're familiar with World of Tanks, or maybe some other games like War Thunder that has tech trees, you'll understand better what I'm getting at. Plus, the planes themselves have upgrades, such as you can purchase the special weapons, but then you can also upgrade parts to make certain areas of your planes perform better. Such as you can spec out for missiles, you can spec out for guns, you can even do things like improve your maneuverability, your speed, etc., etc. Planes have a lot of different types of improvements, including even modules for stealth and making it more difficult for the enemy to do missile locks. The next thing that they've added to the game, or at least that I'm aware of that they've added to Ace Combat 7, I know it wasn't in 4 and I know it wasn't in 5, and from what I can tell doing research online, I did not see it in any of the other Ace Combat games, is they added post-stall maneuvers. So now you can do the crazy Maverick, Cobra maneuver and things of that nature. And they're actually pretty easy to do. They're not extremely difficult. I do feel some of the characters are pretty interesting, but I wouldn't say that with all the characters. So it's kind of meh. Kind of a mixed grab bag there. The plane options are really great. You got a lot of different iconic jet fighters in the game. You got the F4 Phantom in the game. Of course, you have to purchase that through a DLC. You got the F-15. You got the F-16. F-18, F-14s, Su-37, MiG-29, and the list just goes on and on and on. Besides of some of their own original stuff, such as the X-02 Strike Wyvern. Mods. The game's got mod support, man. I can really appreciate some mods. Nothing like flying around in an F-15 with a nice hot Animu girl painted on your wing. Okay, that's not my style. I'm more of the tactical, actual using legit Air Force skins, if you will, or different Air Force skins. Some that they would actually paint the planes to look like. That being next thing, I did not really see in my playthrough, and I got about 37 hours in the game upon recording this review. I didn't really see any glitches, had no problems with the game freezing. And pretty much the game ran at a 60 FPS the whole time. So, yeah, I mean, it just works. As not Bethesda works, it actually does legit work. So, credit to Namco for that. The game ran very smooth. And it's probably one of the least glitchy AAA titles I've actually seen in a while. The action can be really intense. I definitely had some oh shit, pull back as hard as I can on the stick moments or quickly roll out of there moments. So I do have to say that it is intense. That at least for me, I really can get into this game. I know there's some people that are like, oh, gotta be flight simulator purist or whatever, which I do play, simulators too. I also play Arma. So, and I do a lot of piloting on Arma, and helicopters and jets both, as well as planes. And honestly, it was easier for me to get immersed into this over Arma. Now, I think with Arma, the thing is there's like so much different things to control and keep your eyes on and toggles and stuff of that nature that I think I'm less focused about what's going on and more focused about what's going on with the plane. We're here because this isn't an actual simulator, even though it's labeled as a simulator. Don't know why. I can focus more on the action and get more into what I'm doing and what's going on. And you still got to pay attention, but, to your airspeed and your altitude and things of that nature, and your radar, your weapon systems, etc. There's still areas to pay attention, but I just find myself, I get more engrossed, more immersed into something like Ace Combat. And that being said, when it comes to being immersed, one area kind of falls short is lasers. Yeah, I mean, lasers are cool and all. Everybody likes lasers. I think there's railguns too. And it's kind of one of those things that makes me scratch my head and go, why? But you know what? whatever. If it's an ace combat, it just works. And actually, in previous entries of the series, they did have some more sci-fi type elements compared to, say, like Ace Combat 4, where it was kind of more real world, even though it was a fictional world. Okay, now moving on to the stuff that I wasn't crazy about. Some stuff that I really wasn't crazy about is the AI can be absolutely potato, especially friendly AI. The flight groups I was flying with were some of the most useless pilots I have ever seen, even in an Ace Combat game, which really sucks because actually the AI pilots are actually rather good. Well, I don't know if it's that they're rather good. It's probably less that they're rather good and just more that you're outnumbered all the time. But basically, towards the end of the game, it got to the point where it felt like I was the only plane in the air taking the fight to the enemy, you know, because I literally would have trains of planes following me. And you would think that would give a great opportunity for my friendly AI to actually attack. Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, okay, you know, that's kind of... They just... Friendly AI just really falls flat on its face. They're useless. They're not even really good targets. They don't do a good job drawing the enemy away from you, and they don't do a good job helping you fight. You might as well be the only plane in the air. But, whatever. The timer can really burn you at times. It would have been nice to have a little bit more time on some of the objectives. I'm not going to say everything, because for the most part, it's mostly generous for most missions, just not all of them. The story is, yeah, I really feel the story for this was weak. There was plots that just didn't go anywhere. Like, they would start this plot and then it would just end suddenly. Or they would make a plot point and then that would be the end of that plot point. Like, it wouldn't even come to a sudden end. It just, like, disappeared. So, yeah, the story is, and for the most part, it's all right. But when comparing it to Ace Combat 4 and Ace Combat 5, which are the two Ace Combat games I played the most, the story definitely ends up being weak. Machine guns, I feel in general, are pretty weak. It's not so bad in like normal, easy, and easy casual, because you get unlimited ammo, but in the higher difficulties, you actually do have machine gun ammo. And yeah, I just feel in general the machine guns are weak. Maybe it's just me. I'm not sure. Next thing there was definitely some moments of why. Like, there was literally moments where I put down my controller and went, fucking why? Especially like the fight with the Arsenal bird. Also with the part 3 of the DLC missions. I don't remember which one it's called, but it's part 3. You have to destroy the submarine, and when I was there destroying the submarine, I'm sitting there going, fucking why? As the fight just got more and more and more of being a pain in the ass. And some of the dog fights in that, the fight with the Arsenal bird was just like, my God, this fight is going so long that it's dragged on to the point of I have no more to give. I'm tired of doing this rinse and repeat. I'm just not impressed. There's another series of missions too where the IFF systems go out and you've got to identify targets by sight. And the problem is when you're flying over a target that's already shooting at you and you're looking right at it, the target's not marking as a friendly or an enemy. And there was many moments of doing that where I was literally going, fucking why? This SAM site has me marked and is firing a Stainer or a Strela or whatever type of SAM at me, and I'm not painting the target as a friendly, and I'm not painting the target as an enemy. And obviously, if it's shooting at me, it's an enemy. Fucking why? And honestly, there's many sections in this game where I feel are overly hard. I tried playing this on normal. Understand that I played Ace Combat 4 and 5 on hard difficulty. And this one, I went all the way down to easy. And it was still now, not so much an early game, but towards the late game, like the last, like, 4 or 5 stages, it was a real challenge on easy. So I feel the difficulty's a little crazy. And a part of that is because of the AI as well. I mean, the AI being absolutely potato doesn't help. They don't make good targets, but they're not destroying targets either. The last thing the next part here, I feel kind of like this is another why moment. But to me, there's too many canyon runs in this game. Like Ace Combat 4 had 1 canyon run, maybe 2. I think Ace Combat 5 had like 1. This one here had 3, and you could argue for 4 out of 20 missions. Okay, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but this is my personal opinion. I am not here to live out my movie fantasy of doing canyon runs. You know, that one where they destroy the space station and it's got that farm boy and they got this magical thing called the Force, and he's got a sister and his sister wants to get it on with everyone. You know, that movie. I'm fine with doing 1 canyon run, maybe 2. But when you tack in like 4 canyon runs and then you got all kinds of like ridiculous other crap thrown in there, this game gets a bit ridiculous. And honestly, like the first like 2/3 of the game was really fun, except for the 1 canyon run really sucked. Oh my God. I think that was mission 13. Worst canyon run I've ever done in any Ace Combat game. But yeah, just the canyon runs can really eat a dick. Like, if they make an Ace Combat 7, or an Ace Combat 8, which they've already announced that they're working on an Ace Combat 8, please have less canyon runs and have more kick-ass, high-intense dogfights. We don't play these games to do canyon runs. We play Ace Combat games for the awesome dogfighting and destroying massive amounts of ground targets, or wiping out a navy, or having a cool dogfight with an enemy ace. We don't want to do canyon runs. We don't mind a couple, but 4 out of 20 missions is ridiculous. Kiss my ass. Now, all that being said, my opinion of the game overall is generally, I still feel Ace Combat 4 is the absolute best Ace Combat game. 5 wasn't bad, but I wasn't as fond of Ace Combat 5 as I was of Ace Combat 4. Ace Combat 7, I still is a very good Ace Combat entry. I still really like the game. Even outside of the I hate doing canyon runs and the AI sucks, I still rather like this, and I still do recommend it. Now, there's a bit of a caveat, though, to this on how much I recommend it. One, do you like fighter games? Because it's definitely a niche when it comes to that, and it's not a full simulator. Now, I feel it is simulator-like enough for even the most simulator-crazed person to play and enjoy this game. But it's also one of those that it's simplified and easy enough and non-sim enough that even a person that's not really deep into fighter aircraft games can get into this. Now, the price tag. I'm going to just pull this up here and have you look at this. This is from the Steam page for the PC version. Now, I don't have the base game here. The base game is $60. Now, the things I have crossed off in yellow, you get if you buy the Ace Combat 7 Top Gun Maverick Ultimate Edition. Honestly, that's the place I recommend starting if you're just now getting into Ace Combat 7. Because, come on, if you don't, if you sit down and watch Top Gun Maverick and not want to play Ace Combat 7 or some other type of game, there's something wrong with you. And Ace Combat 7, it's got the Top Gun stuff, which comes with 5 planes to play with. And, the F-14A TMG version is a really good plane. It's on par with the high-tier planes. But as you can see, that's $100. That's kind of steep, honestly, for in my opinion, because you're not getting everything. The things I have squared off in red is the stuff that you're not getting that you would have to pay for separately to have everything. What I did was I actually picked up the Top Gun Maverick Edition, Ultimate Edition, on, I believe, GOG for $35. And then I picked up all the other DLCs that are marked in red. But still, if you were to buy just the Top Gun Edition, the Ultimate Edition, for $100, and then you want to buy the other stuff, all the other stuff, which, like I said, is marked in red, because essentially what you have is you can purchase the individual aircraft or you can purchase the packs. And me personally, I just recommend the packs, because with the packs you get additional skins. The F4 Phantom is the only plane that's not in a pack. It's the only plane that you have to purchase individually. Me, I like the F4 Phantom, so I was like, yeah, I'm buying that one. And then I ended up buying the other ones anyway, just because, yeah, sure, why not? There'll be a lot more planes. But either ways, to get everything that I have marked out here, which is the Top Gun Maverick Ultimate Edition and all the DLCs squared off in red, it's still over $140. So, I mean, it's quite salty. Now, so that being said, is this a game that you're going to play a lot? For me, this is probably, this is kind of one of those. I probably won't buy Ace Combat 8 unless it's really good. If it's just maybe slightly better or whatever than 7, I'll probably keep playing 7. Because honestly, I got Ace Combat 4, played it, enjoyed it. Got Ace Combat 5 for $60 when it was brand new for my PS2, and I enjoyed it, but I ended up catching myself getting Ace Combat 4 out a lot more than Ace Combat 5. So it was kind of like one of those of, I could have just bought Ace Combat 4 and never bought Ace Combat 5, and I wouldn't have missed out. Not saying Ace Combat 5 was bad. I just didn't like it as much as 4. Now, so, this is kind of one of those games I don't buy every single Ace Combat game out there. The other thing, too, is how much are you into flight games? Is it worth paying $100? Maybe not for everyone. Maybe wait for a sale, like Steam Summer Sale, when stuff is crazily priced, and you can probably pick up the Maverick Top Gun Edition for, $40 or something like that. Or you can, go to a second party website like GOG or G2A or Green Man Gaming or whatever, and you might be able to snag up a Steam code for really cheap. I really would not recommend this game for $140. I'm going to be honest with you on that one. Now the $70 I paid, Yeah, I think it was worth it, but all that for, $70, that's not bad, especially considering that's only like $10 more than the base game. But anyway, folks, bit of a long review, but it was pretty detailed. Gave you a really wholehearted opinion about Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. Anyway, folks, hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for tuning in. And hey, if you enjoyed it, if you agree with me, whatever, just be nice, share this around. I'm a struggling YouTuber, use some help. Even on YouTube, I get no respect. No respect, I tell you. Anyway, folks, thanks again for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.